very big hello right around the country. Welcome to The War for another week. It's great to have you with us as we now enter the second week of the election campaign.
Yes, and I'm pleased to say there'll be no worm on the show tonight. We're not going to take that risk because I'll show you what happens the minute you put the worm on your show. That's what happens. They pull you off air.
I know, we saw it happen in the Great Debate on Sunday where the National Press Club cut Nine's feed and they had to take Sky's coverage instead.
I know, censorship. That's what it is, Rewcastle, censorship. And it happened again at 9 on Monday night when someone cut the Viva Laughlin feed and they had to take Sky News again.
Yeah, that was in the Press Club that time. I think that was the Channel 9 audience that actually did that, to be fair.
Maybe. But look, otherwise I thought it was a pretty uneventful debate on the whole, although Howard didn't react well when Iraq was brought up, I noticed. He seemed to break out into a spasm.
I don't think it was Iraq. I actually think it was because the worm was there. It made him all twitchy.
Oh, he gets very anxious about the worm. He's never been comfortable with the worm.
No wonder. He's always been trying to ban it. But I reckon it's about time these two old foes tried to kiss and make up. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, it's censored the worm again.
Oh, well, sorry, we're going to have to take Sky's feed on this piece.
Hey,
I know he doesn't like the worm, but let me get close there, eh? Prime Minister, what's wrong with the worm, eh? I've done good work for you in the past. I'm not the one that doesn't like you, Prime Minister. It's the people that are going against you. Don't blame me for the bad results. I only get to work once every 3 years. Seriously, Prime Minister, don't unfairly dismiss the worm.
It's not the way to treat a worm, people. He must really hate it.
No, well, I'm not surprised he hates it after the worm awarded the debate to Rudd by a considerable margin on Sunday. Mind you, if you thought the worm didn't like Howard, you should have seen how it responded to National Bingo Night on Channel 7.
Do we have bingo? No bingo!
It hates it.
No, that's a bit harsh. I love National Bingo Night, especially that Indian referee guy. What a character he was.
He is a character. Isn't it good to have him back?
Bingo.
He's great to have back, isn't he?
What do you mean back? Who is he?
You know that guy. He's the guy that presided over Lindy Chamberlain's court case. He was the one who got her convicted first time around.
there's no dingo!
Thank you. And that joke is now available on DVD in a special collector's edition available from all ABC shops and wherever bad puns are sold. But elsewhere on the campaign trail, it's been a week of sound bites and slogans, hasn't it?
It has, and I was particularly taken with this big promise made by Kevin Rudd last Friday.
Every Australian kid in the future has an opportunity to get themselves wired.
Getting the kids wired? I thought the Greens were the pro-drugs party. It's so confusing.
You know, Ruddy wants every kid off their chops by 2010, which might explain why he's named this man his new health minister.
Yeah, although, to be fair, at least Kevin's not using drugs like some politicians.
What is he on?
He's coming down.
He's coming down off something? I don't know what he's on. But the other soundbite that caught my ear this week also came from Rudd, and it's a phrase he uses quite a bit.
In due season, in due season. In due season, in due season.
Now, that's not a phrase I've ever heard before. I mean, what is this Jew season? Hanukkah?
Passover? What is it? Well, look, think about it, people. Well, at least Rudd's slick and prepared when it comes to the media, unlike some other Labor candidates like the former weatherman Mike Bailey. Now, check this out for some desperate padding.
What's the figure?
Well, the figure is, if you want the precise details, I'll give you the precise details of the makeup of the front bench, which I did bring along, thinking that Mr. Hockey may want to actually talk about that. But it's a figure that's much less than that one, because the front bench is made up of people from a whole range of different backgrounds, and those backgrounds, of course, do include my own as a journalist. And I'm not a front bencher, but nonetheless, it's the sort of slur that Mr. Hockey wants to throw at us. But the actual figures on people who are on the front bench do seem to have eluded me.
They have eluded him there. I think the forecast for you, Mike, is unemployment. But look, Bailey aside, I think Labor's still tracking extremely well at this stage.
No, they're doing very well. And did you see Howard's reaction to the latest polls?
I mean, he's feeling the pressure.
He is.
He's feeling the pressure. That man, he needs another tamper or an interest rate scare, some kind of rabbit to pull out of the hat.
Yeah, well, he keeps saying to all his cabinet he doesn't have a rabbit to pull out of the hat for this election. So we thought we'd go and help the PM out.
Mr Prime Minister.
You blokes are a lot funnier when you're big on somebody who's alive.
Come on, Mr You're alive, Prime Minister.
Union.
What about Africans? They're alive. Pick on Africans.
Don't manhandle the bunny. Animal cruelty.
To be fair, I think the Prime Minister did have a point there. We should only pick on the living. So, as of tonight, we won't make any more jokes about anything that's dead, with one exception.
Yes.
But, Craig, can I just say there's one issue very close to my heart at the moment, and we haven't heard a word about it yet from either leader. It's the issue of parking.
Parking?
Oh, yeah, you can't park anywhere in the major cities these days.
Really? I always get great parking spots. Like, you know when you go to shopping centres and you see those charity cars you can win parked in the middle of the store?
Oh, the prize cars with a bow around them and stuff, yeah.
You just have to pretend to be one of those. It's amazing how open some of these shops are.
Drive straight in. Nice park.
Yeah, no, you got a great spot there, right near the shops. All you have to do is set up some kind of raffle. People think you're meant to be there. Go off and do your shopping, it's fine. A lot of people are interested in the car, obviously.
A lot of people lining up to...
The only problem is once you finish your shopping, it's very hard to get out there with all the interest. Sorry?
Why is the car there? You robbed my driveway. Exit.
Oh, I'll take it out after I've done my shopping now. That's right. Feel free to enter if you want.
Just put your name on it, is it?
Yeah, there you go. Just fill your name out and pop it in the bin there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
When do you put it on?
Yeah, I just have one over there. Looks like a rubbish bin. Goes all right. Very easy to park, tell you that much.
If Labor wins the election, how many union officials will there be in the ACTU? 20%? 30%? Try again. 50%. Sorry, try 100%. That's right. 100% of union officials will be union officials under a Rudd Labor government. Do you trust unionists to run the union movement?
I've taken 5 Valiums today already, but I still can't slow down.
I was lucky enough to visit Tokyo a few months ago, and I checked out quite a bit of Japanese TV while I was there.
And it's just great, isn't it, Japanese TV? It's a bit out there at times. They love those crazy extreme game shows, you know, where they cover people in scorpions, make them drink arsenic and this
that's the stereotype. And yeah, I was expecting those bizarre game shows, but it wasn't the case. I actually stumbled on some really good human interest programs, including... There's one there called Faces of Japan. I don't know if anyone has heard of it. It's sort of like Australian Story, I guess, would be the nearest equivalent in this country. And it's nothing at all like the stereotypes of Japanese TV we're used to.
息子のがんが発覚してからもう6年になります。今まで本当に頑張ってきましたが、今回お医者様がもう彼の限界を超えてしまったとおっしゃいました。あと1ヶ月の命、1ヶ月持つかどうかもわかりません。息子が最後の生死に関わる手術に行く前に
彼を誘拐することにしました。そしてサランラップでぐるぐる巻きにします。巻き巻き巻き巻き。ホッチキスね。
彼にはがんに勝つことができませんでしたが、マムシ地獄からは逃げられるのでしょうか。
But look, back to the election briefly. I was pleased to see how much airtime the environment was given during the debate last Sunday. For me, it's a key issue now that our water levels have reached an all-time low in this country.
Well, that's very green of you, Andrew. But look, I'm getting a bit bored of everyone banging on about the drought and water restrictions. Because personally, I haven't had any problems at all with water, I must admit, since I embraced what I call the camel solution.
The camel solution?
Oh, yeah, they're the ships of the desert, Craig. They can store water for months on end, and I haven't had any water worries at all since I got myself a camel. It's so easy. I've been washing my car with a camel, no problems at all.
It's good.
A wonderful help.
He chamois it too.
I even take it with me whenever I go out to lunch now, because, you know, you're guaranteed fresh still water every time. Do you want, and why stop there? I even use the camel for a shower every morning. A perfect way to start the day.
I'm sorry, which hairy fat animal was the camel?
Yes, well, we are into the second week of the election campaign, and already there's one issue that refuses to go away: unions.
Now, unions in this country have a long history of letting people down and being full of crap. But it wasn't always thus. In the past, unions have been instrumental in negotiating shorter working days and longer leave periods, benefits that many workers still enjoy today.
Unionists have taken the lead in the fight against diseases like asbestosis, although they've been somewhat slower to take the lead on diseases like alcohol abuse. Unions have also warned against the influx of unskilled foreign workers to Australia.
And while unions have often been accused of striking without justification, they aren't nearly as quick to strike as some non-unionists.
Today, in the age of work choices, unions have played an essential role protecting Australian jobs, particularly in the advertising industry. And you can always rely on unions to champion the cause of the disadvantaged, the forgotten and the untalented by getting them safe Labor seats.
This election, more than ever before, the Liberals have criticised unions, arguing that Australia's had enough of marginal extremist nutters in politics, unless, of course, they're in a coalition with them.
Now, the Industrial Relations Minister, Joe Hockey, recently dismissed unions as irrelevant and anti-business, but irrelevancy is no barrier to a career in politics.
And how can unions be anti-business? With all the collusion and dodgy dealing that goes on in unions, it's sometimes hard to tell them apart from business.
But despite their union links, the Labor Party is still a broad church. They know that to balance out all these bland, conniving machine men from the union movement, you need a really, really bland, conniving machine man not from the union movement.
And
that's Election Watch.
All right, let's roll up the sleeves and get down to business. And the first problem waiting for us this week
is oversized popcorn.
Oh, that is getting out of control, isn't it? Especially at the movies. I mean, popcorn serving sizes these days are just ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I went to the movies with Chris the other night, and as you know, he's not a big eater, so he just got the small-sized one.
Yeah, quite moderate,
It's big enough as it was, to be honest. Whereas I got the medium, and I got to say, that was a nightmare.
Yeah, thank God you didn't get the large.
The people sitting behind us really are the shits. I mean,
why? Look, they got them for free.
I mean, Hanson, he turned up, he got the choc top, which is the... they always come off the top of them.
It's impossible.
And then some idiot starts rolling Jaffas down the aisle.
You've got to do something to make the movie interesting.
The next problem is Robert McClellan, Labor's Foreign Affairs spokesman. Now, Kevin Rudd disciplined him recently for a speech about the death penalty, even though all he was doing was stating Labor Party policy.
Which, to be fair, is more than Rudd usually does.
Yeah, exactly. It's a worry for Kevin, though. This guy, McClellan, he's on a rampage. I mean, look at him. He's out of control.
From a strategic point of view, but also from a humanitarian point of view.
Oh, he'll say anything. Like McClellan, and that man's a crazed psychopath. And I tell you what, if he keeps talking about Labor policies instead of just saying new leadership, they're in real trouble.
Exactly. Kevin needs this McClellan lunatic shut down, so he called in the fixers.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to interrupt. Unfortunately, we can't take any questions from the floor today, as there is a possibility that any of the issues raised may address Labor policy, and any issues will need to be directed to the Leader's office. If you could just direct them to me, and Robert, if you wouldn't mind just staying quiet there, if that's all right. Okay. Sorry, it is just a very sensitive time. In the election context, it's simply not appropriate for a Shadow Minister to be making any comments at all in relation to policy. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. If you could just make your way out to the right-hand side. Thank you very much.
dear. Sorry, can I borrow your umbrella for a second? Sorry, and just get out of the rain, thank you. It's an awful day. Thank you for this. I'm just going up to the train. It's very kind of you. In fact, I would say... Such a generous act, and what beauty, in fact. I think I'm falling in love. A life spent with you will turn the skies blue and part the grey clouds above. May I? The start. It might be raining on the outside, but it's sunny in my heart. It might be twisting down on the outside, but it's sunny in my heart. Thanks very much. I think have your umbrella back and go. Bye.
Thank you.
Now, a couple of weeks ago, we presented you with what we claimed was the most confusing introduction to a current affairs report ever written. We were wrong. So wrong.
Policing is a tough job, but in between murder and robbery, there's time for other things, like a blitz on jaywalkers. Not that there's much to fear from people who haven't crossed the street properly, just an opportunity to make your voice heard, enforce the law, before you go around the corner and do it yourself, as Rodney Lose discovered.
Confused? I certainly, Elephant.
Now, to be fair, while that intro was very confusing, I do think that Anna has an excuse. We've obtained some vision from a secret camera behind Anna, and just look at this. The conditions in that studio are very hard to work under.
No wonder she's confused.
It explains a lot. I tell you who they should have hired to write that intro, Bart.
Oh, who?
Damien Murphy.
Oh, Murphy! Now, Murphy knows that if you've got a confusing topic, you can explain it visually. And that makes it even more confusing.
Now, under a normal loan, you take some of your income from over here and put it onto your loan account over here, keeping the rest for everyday expenses. Now, under line of credit, you put all of your income into your loan and then take back what you need to get you by each week. Just think about it. Throwing a few extra dollars onto your loan for a few extra days each month, only to take most of it back out again, means you're probably saving yourself a bit of interest, maybe $30 a month, but in the scheme of a $250,000 30-year borrowing, you've hardly made a dent at all.
Well, hang on, I'm very confused now.
It's OK, Andrew. Let me explain. Now, this pile represents the size of a normal person's brain, and this pile is Damien Murphy's brain. And every time you watch one of Damien Murphy's reports, you lose a significant portion of your brain. You see? There you go. Very clear.
On to today's lesson now, the right attitude.
Yes, now to be a great current affairs reporter, you've got to show a bit of attitude. Reporter Brady Halls, for example, has no attitude.
Now, poor little Brady. He was told he had to do a story about a town where they found asbestos. Now, just compare the level of bravery between Brady Halls and the woman he's interviewing.
This is very high-grade iron ore up there. It's safer here than what it is most urban areas. My way of thinking.
All right, we've shown you a reporter who has no attitude. Now it's time to show you one who does.
Amanda Patterson. Now, she is one angry woman. The people she interviews make her so angry, they don't even deserve the right to answer her questions.
Yes, now check out how many times she cuts off the people from St Vincent's Hospital in this one report.
I'm not interested in doing secret meetings, Miss Gray.
Well,
it's a public forum, it's a public hospital.
Heather Gray is CEO of the Greater Southern Area Health Service.
What is going wrong inside that hospital? Why are these babies dying? Is there something that you don't want them to hear?
No, but I think the
cover-ups have affected every single one of these people.
We...
Don't they have the right to listen to what you have to say? Would your behaviour be different if the cameras weren't rolling?
Dr McGurr and his PR man didn't want to know.
The doctor on duty said to their mother that she should just let them perish and die.
Thank you. That doctor, these mums and dads had questions and they wanted answers.
Well, they won't be getting answers if Amanda Patterson's the reporter.
No, but not all reports are about confrontation. Some reports, for instance, are about sick kids and they require a sensitive, sympathetic attitude.
Yeah, that's right. This boy has an awful illness which makes him black out and he falls over literally every few minutes. It's a terrible disorder, which is why it was so heartwarming to see Today Tonight choose such poignant music to accompany the boy's story. Who's going to pick you up when you fall, indeed?
Although, to be fair, that reporter did run music over himself as well. Evens out. Look, then there are the more light-hearted stories where the reporter needs a bit of charm. For example, Today Tonight set up their cameras with some deal or no deal home viewers who are about to win 200 grand. Enter Jonathan Creek.
And just look at the natural chemistry between Jonathan and the winning couple.
Feast your eyes on...
Mate.
Hold on, you've got $200,000. How does that change your lives?
Ah, Jonathan Creek, you show pony, you!
Right. Now, finally, there are political reports. Now, politicians are wily snakes, and you've got to confront them head-on with the most hard-nosed attitude you can muster.
Yeah, and it pays off, because the relentless Ben Fordham didn't let up until he got the biggest scoop in Australian political history.
A rare insight into the private life of the Prime Minister.
I always like to be on my own at breakfast. Sort of a deal my wife and I made when we got married. She said, you get your own breakfast.
You like to be on your own at breakfast?
Oh, yeah.
Why's that?
Oh, I say you can read the papers and think about the day. I don't really like... and I'm very much a loner at breakfast. And Jeanette said, you get your own breakfast. And
You get your own breakfast?
Oh, yeah, of course, always have. Why wouldn't I? I mean, you don't get somebody else to get your breakfast. Ridiculous.
That is amazing stuff. The Prime Minister gets his own breakfast.
He gets his own breakfast?
Yes, he gets his own breakfast.
He gets his own breakfast?
Guys, did you hear that? The Prime Minister gets his own breakfast.
He gets his own breakfast? Right, so you didn't know the Prime Minister gets his own breakfast?
He gets his own breakfast?
Yeah, apparently.
Well, it's the talk of the town.
It's amazing.
They even got stuck into him during the debate about it.
Yeah.
Laurie, your next question. Mr. Howard, my question to you is on the topic of breakfast. How would you describe your journey towards getting breakfast on your own?
It's a wonderful story. It's a story of great achievement. It's a story of heroic endeavour. You can sneer at it, Mr. Rudd. You can say that people won't believe it. Well, frankly, I don't care if you do say that. I think people will believe it.
And a follow-up, Mr. Howard. How do you fall on the crucial issue of whether to have lumps of sugar in your cereal?
I'll take my lumps.
Well, look, no. Now, it was a huge scoop from Fordham, I admit, but I don't like the way he went about getting it. That was a savage, underhanded ambush of Howard.
That was a disgrace. It was a disgrace, and there is only one way to deal with someone who behaves like that: to confront them in the cut-them-off style of Amanda Patterson. Mr. Fordham! Mr. Fordham! How can you speak to an innocent Prime Minister about breakfast like that?
Where's it going to end, Mr. Fordham? Lunch? Dinner?
Spare a thought for the breakfast, Mr. Fordham.
How many innocent Prime Ministers have to suffer because of you?
When we approached Ben Fordham, we were met with a guilty silence.
Why aren't you answering our questions?
Tell me,
What have you got to hide?
Is this a cover-up, Mr. Fordham?
Don't speak over us while we're interrupting you. Huh? Oh, hi, Brady.
Another scare campaign from Mr. Howard, always claiming the sky's about to fall in.
Come on, Mr. Rudd. You can do better than that.
Come on, Mr. Howard. Rudd already did that turning off the TV trick in his ad. Who's copying who now? Let's see what else is on.
Whoa, stop right there. We are not going through that again.
Why not? What's wrong with it?
It upset the Prime Minister. Although now that we're here, I do have a new verse about David Hooks. David Hooks was just a stupid...
God, no! Political ads, The Chaser. Is there any decent dirt-free material on TV these days?
I'm only speaking this fast because Ben Cousins gave me so much speed.
That's it from us for another week. Remember, you can download the podcast of tonight's episode by going to the website address on your screen.
And remember to, up next, the worm decides the outcome of Summer High Tie. Until next week, good night.
Good night. See you.
Stay right where you are. The curtain is about to go up on the school formal in the series final of Summer High Tie, next on ABC.